Welcome to Happily Ever Afters, where love doesn't stop at romance. Join us as we share the tales of everyday magic and celebrate life's sweetest moments. Hear inspiring accounts of love, intimacy, and pure joy as we uncover the secrets behind true devotion and partnerships that really work. Brace yourself for a full-on heart melting. Here's your host, Carlos Clemente.
Hello, hello, hello. How are we as we listen to the strings of Earl Klug and heartstrings? We go to Happily Ever Afters with my friend, my co-host, the great Dorothy Lucy.
Damn, that was quite an intro. Thank you.
All right. Okay, we got a good show again, and these two folks, they got a great story for us today. It's Jamie and George HESS. Now, Jamie has a famous mom, and she looks just like her. When you see her, when she pops up on the screen, she just got the same smile, everything. George, you don't know how lucky you are. All right?
Oh, no, actually, I do.
Okay. Well,
If not, we're going to remind you during this entire show.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about yourselves so everybody knows who we're talking to, and then we'll get into that love story.
I love it. Babe, you want to start?
No, you start.
Okay. I am Jamie HESS. I am a media personality, podcaster, keynote speaker, coach. What else do I do? A tap dance.
Yes, you're a mom.
The brand ninja. I like that title. I heard that one.
Yeah, you know what? So I was in PR and marketing for 17 years, and then I had this little Instagram account that took off. It was called NYC Fit Fam, which was kind of our story together as a fitness couple. Now today my handle is my name. It's at Jamie HESS. But as I left that PR world, we made our entire personal brand around our passion and our shared passion for fitness and wellness. Mm-hmm. And it kind of launched this whole act two of my life and my career. And so today I'm on television and have a podcast, and all of these things around fitness, wellness, and mindset optimization. And a lot of it is based around my life with George.
Wow, do I have to follow that?
Yeah.
Always you have to for your entire life.
Right, exactly. So my name is George HESS, and I run a marketing company specifically for electronic music, dance electronic music. So big artists like Tiesto and Armin van Buuren, Calvin Harris and such. And my job is to take their releases and make them a little bit higher in awareness so that people will listen to them on the radio more often, or listen to them on Spotify or Apple or wherever they consume music.
And I saw that Jamie, you did PR for so many big companies like McDonald's, LinkedIn, but also Barry's Boot Camp. And then I read somewhere that you guys, I threw up once taking Barry's Boot Camp. You guys got engaged there?
Yes.
Absolutely.
No, Dorothy, that's where our whole story started. And it's so funny. So Barry's Boot Camp was my client, but George ended up proposing to me on a treadmill at Barry's. And all of my PR friends were like, oh my God, that was the most genius PR move. And I said, I would love to take credit as if I knew that my surprise engagement was coming. But alas, it was not. I did not know that.
It's the only way I could trick her.
That's true.
Literally the only way I could get one over.
You planned that, George? You planned it that way?
100%. Yeah, I had I had planned it with Barry's first. I went to Joey, who was running the 21st Street studio at the time, and I asked him, I was like, I have this idea. Are you guys okay with it? I talked to the we went every day at 7 a.m. every single day. Sometimes we did doubles. So
oh my God. Okay, really seriously, I did it once and almost threw up. It's the hardest workout.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
It is. There's a good story when she got me to do my first one. Yeah, I was a little nervous, but we ended up really enjoying it and going together, and that was the thing. The trainer had the ring in his pocket the entire class, and I asked her mom to come down, her sisters came down. It was amazing. It was really fun.
Yeah, and at the end of it, they had protein smoothies that said "She said yes" on the side of the cup. It was super cute. So what ended up happening though from that was because my mom was there, and my mom is TV journalist Joan London, and she was on Good Morning America for almost 20 years. Because she was there, as a mom would be, right, at an engagement, it was all over the news, and it was on Page Six, and it was everywhere, and it kind of started our public facing persona as a fit couple. So we went with it. You know, I was a publicist, so I kind of got how that worked, and I was like, I think we have lightning in a bottle here. Let's just start an Instagram account for fun to share our passion for fitness and wellness. And what ended up happening was within the first 2 years of starting that, I think people could really sense that, like, we weren't trying to be influencers. I say that all the time. We're not millennials, okay? We're 44 and 64 years old. I was not trying to be an influencer for a living. That was not a job description when I went to college. However, I think when people can truly sense your authenticity and that you just really love this stuff and you love doing it together and making each other kind of the best version of yourselves, it was sticky. And so all of a sudden I was like, babe, people are following us that aren't like my cousin. And then we had like 5,000 followers and 10,000 and 20,000. And eventually it became a side hustle. I started working with brands. And then eventually my side hustle outpaced my full hustle. And I left my corporate job, and I've been doing that ever since.
Did you kind of grow up on TV with your mom?
I did grow up on TV with my mom. It was not uncommon for me to be seen, like, you know, being coddled by Sammy Davis Jr. or hanging out with New Kids on the Block on a commercial break when I was a little kid. But my mom is the most down-to-earth person on the planet. So she was never like, you guys should go into media or you should be on TV. Yeah. She's just like a hard worker. My mom wanted us to. So I think the fact that now I'm on television kind of surprised everyone. Like, my mom was not pushing for that. My mom was more of the like PTA mom, kind of showing up at all of our events, and she was less sauntering down red carpets and more just being Mama Joni.
Because I did a morning show in LA, and I would force my son, and thank God he doesn't remember this stuff, like every Halloween he had to wear the costume.
Right.
You know, every Easter he had, you know, like a silly costume. But, you know, the scars have not remained with him for his entire life.
Did all of that. And I have videos of me on Take Your Daughters to Work Day interviewing my favorite author, like Judy Blume or Mary Higgins Clark. So there were some magic moments, and it was an incredible, incredible opportunity to grow up, you know, in front of the camera and on set with my mom, as she really, you know, when you're hosting Good Morning America, I mean, she interviewed, you know,
everybody,
presidents, you know, like it was pretty cool.
Yeah. I think that you get to do it now with her.
Yeah, we do a lot of stuff together now as well.
Oh, that's so sweet.
How did your interview with Mom go?
Did she interview you, George?
Yeah, how did that interview go?
Yeah, so before I asked her to marry me, I went up to see Joan and Jeff.
My stepfather.
And we had a great conversation, you know. Ironically, am I a month younger or older than Jeff?
So my mom got remarried, and her husband is 10 years younger than her.
Oh.
My husband is 20 years older than me, which makes them, drum roll please,
Same age.
the same age.
Oh,
So
okay.
that was a conversation to be had, but I
Yeah.
think it's a very modern family.
Yeah. And I have, besides our two children, I have three more that are older. One is going to be 40 this year.
Wow.
So,
And you guys met, did you meet on a blind date?
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was so great.
Yeah, we were set up on a blind date by our friend Tracy Young. She's a famous DJ and, you know, kind of out there in the pop culture lexicon. And of course, George is in the music industry, and she was a client of mine and a good friend.
Yeah.
And she was like, you know, we had been walking home from an event, and she said, Jamie, why don't you have a boyfriend? I said, because I'm happy. You know? But you know what, guys? You know what I think? And George and I talk about this all the time. You know, I've heard it said that relationships aren't 50-50, they're 100-100.
Oh.
And when we were both in a place where we were finally like 100, like I didn't need a guy in my life, and we were both happy. And I think that's when it can click the best, is when you know, you're not from a place of need, you can truly come together and be the best version of yourself. So I let Tracy set me up on that date, but she said she was going to set us up.
Oh, she said the same thing to me, though. She called me up. She's like, I got a girl for you, yada, yada.
And then she dropped the ball.
And then I was like, what's going on? Who's the girl?
Luckily, I'm extremely type A. And once I have an idea in my head, then I tracked him down.
Yeah.
Tracked him down? How long did that take?
Well, before he met me, he was actually kind of ungoogleable. He was like kind of flew under the radar. I fixed that for him right now. But and then I reached out and I was like, Tracy said we should meet. You want to go out for dinner? And he was like,
Yeah, let's go.
and then we haven't been apart. This was 13 years ago. haven't really been apart much since.
Yeah. We got married.
We got engaged.
Well, we got married a year after that date and 1 day.
And we got engaged in 4 months.
Wow. So that was your first, no, I would say that's your second happily ever after moment then, right? So first the phone call,
Right.
then the first date,
Right.
and it's just been happily ever afters ever since.
That was it. Sold. First date.
Wow. Wow. How do you keep it going?
It's such a great question. And here's the thing. I said this before, but it bears repeating. I really believe that relationships that are the best are when two people make each other the best version of themselves. And so over the past 13 years, I can say we've really done that. We started in a little studio apartment that we lived in together.
That was fun.
Me and George and my little dog, and we were just crammed in there working hard. And we geek out on business together. So I help him with his business. He definitely helps me. And we've built these businesses together. And we came from that little apartment to what we have now. We live in Pennsylvania in a beautiful house that we've worked so hard to build these businesses and build this life together. But if all of the big house and all of the things that we've acquired went away tomorrow, I would be just as happy back in that little studio apartment.
Because you have each other, right?
Yeah, and our whole thing is based on gratitude. And that's actually the name of my podcast, is the Gratitudeology podcast. We very much believe that an attitude of gratitude is the heartbeat of happiness. So I know a lot of people who have a lot of things and a lot of money and they're miserable. I don't think it's the things or the money. I think it's waking up and appreciating what it is that you do have.
Yeah, we got rooted first, and then everything else on top of that.
So how do you take your two businesses and keep them going and keep the relationship going, especially since they're intertwined so much?
And you got little kids.
Yeah. How do you make that work?
Home.
Yeah.
Yeah. I say less.
I think I think the answer is the same. Our kids will never hear either of us say, I have to go to work. I get to go to work.
I love that.
get to show up
It's
at
such
the
a
service.
big, but it's subtle, but it's big.
It's huge because honestly, there's two ways to get out of bed in the morning, right? Like you get out of bed, 1 foot, 2 foot anxiety and like, I have to do these things. I have to have this client call.
Right.
I'm nervous about what's going to happen. Or you get out of bed, you put your swagger on, you get ready to crush it. And when two people are in that mindset and operating together to make sure that ecosystem is strong of like gratitude and affirmations, and we really believe in manifestation, meditation. We really work to stay in the zone. I think it's very hard when one person is actively trying to pull the other out of the zone or falling out of the zone. But when there's two people who are committed to a practice of, manifesting abundance and staying in the positive.
I love that you meditate together. I play meditation tapes and I see my husband is like playing online poker, but one of us is meditating.
Yeah. How do you make the meditation work? How do you make that work for both of you?
I think, for the other thing about the zone, by the way, the kids are in the zone too, right? Because they understand like everything that we built as FitFam, some of the trips we've gone on, some of the places we've got to see are so part of the FitFam culture
Ethos.
And what we've done on Instagram.
As a personal
and so
brand.
they get that, right? So when we talk to them about where we're going and what we're doing, there's an understanding like there's going to be some content. You're in the content. We're going to have fun. Everything is part of it. And the meditation is also part of that same thing with the kids. I meditate with the kids in the morning. 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever their capacity is that morning. Like you can see where that's going right away. So maybe you can push to 3. Some mornings it's 1. As long as we get over the finish line. That's all. That's all it is. Just can you sit quiet for 1 minute?
And he does this with the kids. They do their gratefuls, daily gratefuls, 3 things they're grateful for. Affirmations, 3 affirmations. Like I am strong, I am smart, I am powerful, I'm honest, I'm a helper. Like that's powerful, you guys. And it's that simple. See, that's the thing. People think meditation has to be like floating on a mountaintop like a monk. It doesn't. It's just that. It's just like 2 minutes of quiet, a few affirmations, and a few gratefuls. And that sets you up to be a totally different person in the context of your day.
Right.
You guys are lovely. Your mommy raised you well, Jamie.
Thank you, Dorothy. That's so nice.
Now, George, are you from a big family as well, or
I'm an only child, actually.
only child? Okay.
Oh, I got one of those. I'm glad you turned out so well.
I mean, so my older kids are 40, 36, 26, and then we have the two guys here. And the other thing is like melding all that together, making that work. And it all really has to do with being in the zone with the kids and being, nice and of service. And they see us doing it all the time, every day. Like, how can we be of service? We wake up in the morning, how do we be of service? And they understand. That's one of the affirmations they use regularly as well.
Yeah, I am of service.
I am of service.
But the other thing I'll say is, like, obviously we have a May-December romance. Obviously George is a couple of years older than me. However, he runs circles around me, but that's not by accident, right? Like, he's in better shape now than he was when he was 18.
Yeah.
Because he wants to be there for our kids. Our kids are 5 and 8.
Whoa.
I mean, a daily cold plunge, sauna, major workout practice, meditation practice. And honestly, I mean, I'm a fitness and wellness influencer for a living. I will admit, I'd be the first one to admit, though, his practice is more disciplined than mine. And because he's so on it is how we get to maintain this. You know what I mean?
Tell me a little bit more about what you guys are doing separately and together so other people know and can get more involved.
Yeah. Well, my whole brand is around helping people. So I'm on television and I speak a lot about wellness, and I'm an ambassador for a lot of brands.
And you have a TED Talk that I listened to today that I was really moved by.
That was
Thank
good.
you.
Yeah.
I really started as a weight loss and wellness helper. That was the beginning of my coaching. But as it's evolved, today I'm more of a personal and professional development coach. So I really help people and women develop their personal brand, acquire brand deals in the same way I did. So I left my corporate job and wasn't chained to a 9-to-5 anymore, and started working with brands as an influencer and a media personality. So I teach other people how to do that. But at the end of the day, I look at myself as a mindset optimization coach. So that is what goes across everything that I do. And where I like to really wrap it up in a bow is on my podcast, which is called the Gratitudeology Podcast. So I trademarked that word, Gratitudeology, and it's a study and practice of gratitude. But I interview celebrities and thought leaders, people like I've had Rainn Wilson, Teddy Mellencamp from The Real Housewives, Neve Schulman from Catfish, Gabby Bernstein. And we talk about that moment when the switch flipped and they started seeing life through a lens of gratitude. And every episode is like a deep dive story. It's like kind of like audio theater, so it's really fun to listen to. Yeah. So if your listeners want to listen to my podcast, they can text the word gratitude to 33777. I'm really proud of it.
Great, that's awesome.
Actually, the first one.
Yeah.
You and your mom.
Yeah, the first one's awesome. Me and my mom.
Oh.
I'm 20 years. Being sober is a big part of our story. I'm 20 years sober, and so the first episode is me telling my addiction story, and my mom is the first time we really closed the loop on that conversation of her basically saving my life 20 years ago.
Relate to me your definition of happily ever afters.
Wow.
You want to go?
I think.
Sure, make him answer the hard question.
I mean, really, under the bus. I think for me, like on the first date, I went into that restaurant thinking, I know exactly what I don't want, not what I wanted, right? Because that never worked before. This is what I want, this, and this. That never worked. So I understood at that point, I know what I don't want. I know where I am today and where I stand. And that has worked that worked immediately. She walked in, we started talking, I'm like, boom, check, all down the list. And I think that has remained every single day part of like who we are in our relationship. It's just so nice.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's something to be said for chemistry. There's something to be said for like when you know. But the reality is, like, you're right to ask the question, like, what did Joan say in that first talk? Like, after 4 months, there's a lot of people that were like, are y'all nuts? You know what I mean? Like, And we are still as goofily and passionately in love as we were 13 years ago. I think when you find the right person, every day is like getting to have a slumber party with your best friend, and it really does feel like that. But at the end of the day, it's not just the romance. We love building a life together. I love building businesses with George. I love building our family together. I mean, it's just so fun to be on the journey together. So I think really when it's a team effort and when it really does feel like you've got each other's back, that's happily ever after.
Look, you're the brand person, but I think your next book should be called, how did you put it? An overnight sleepover with your best friend?
Slumber party.
It's a slumber party every day with your
Slumber party with your best friend. I love that.
This is a wonderful story. Considering your background, you've had some obstacles. I mean, I'm sure some people look at each one of you and said, look at the age difference, look at this and that, trying to point out negatives to keep you from growing together. And you've done just the opposite. Right. You've done everything to create your happily ever afters, and it's showing on your faces. And I want to congratulate you, and keep that love. Keep that love. That's what this show is about. It's keeping that love. You know, I say things about love, health, and happiness and all that. But to be able to show that and be able to have guests that, what's the word I want?
Love each other?
Yes. I mean, no, but there's a word I'm looking for that I can't think of. That project that. That just, I don't have the words for it. And I want to thank you for being on Happily Ever Afters. And one more time, tell us how we can touch base with you guys and follow you. And I thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
It's been so fun. Babe, where can they find you?
So I am HESS across all the platforms, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. I'm there talking.
And I'm at Jamie Hess on Instagram. You can also find me at meetjamiehess.com and coachjamiehess.com.
So fun meeting you both.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.